In public schools, since the beginning of time, we started out with choral music. Right? The very first music program in Boston, in those little one-room schoolhouses, way back when America was first America, we did choral music. And it was teaching students how to read music so when they went to church on Sunday, they could sing in church. That was the whole reason behind, music in schools. So much for separation between church and state. Huh? Then it moved itself into, once instruments started kind of like brass instruments started kind of getting popular in America, we moved into, guys, let's put your phone away. We moved into band music, but it was based on like classical music. All right, so now we got bands playing like classical music. That was the popular music of the time. All right, and it took a long time for public schools to say, all right, we'll accept this band music, but we don't really like it, but we'll accept this. So they started teaching instruments to students, right? It wasn't a full-time job like you have now. It was, you may have taken some lessons in school, maybe had a little school band or a community band. That was about where it started. Then, once the big band era hit in the early 1900s, that's when we started to see school districts pick up on, like, okay. And then John Philip Sousa came along, who wrote a lot of marches, and then marching bands became humongous in the United States. Once that happened, public schools decided to adopt these band programs so that we can have a marching band, and we can have a band out there with our football team, and all of a sudden football became huge in American schools, and bands became huge, right? We had this humongous boom of bands, right? Jazz band, all of a sudden, but still, you got to remember, it was only really marching band. Big band kind of spurred it, but big band was not allowed in public schools. You could not play swing music in public schools. You couldn't. And they thought that was the devil's music. Right? Okay? So I know it's weird for us nowadays, but back then that was the tone. It wasn't until the 60s where this, all of a sudden, this notion of, well, jazz is really, really huge, and all the popular music that our students listen to, along with rock, why can't we have jazz? So the school districts were like, okay, we'll have jazz. And here comes the jazz program, the swing program. But remember, what was it at the time? It was the popular music at the time. People your age in school, it was commonplace to put on like, oh, this is a cool new Miles Davis thing. This is a cool new Louis Bellson thing. This is a cool... in the 50s and 60s, that's what people listened to. Rock and roll came about, but still, people in your grade, like, that's what you listened to. That was like the Lady Gaga at the time, all right, or whatever. Whatever you guys listen to. Whatever your favorite genre is, right? My philosophy is this. The 60s were a long time ago. So why not play Metallica? That's the music. Why not play any kind of pop? Why not play Journey? Why not play any of the pop music that I can get my hands on? Because that's not that you listen to it all the time, but that's closer to your age group.
In that case, can we play dubstep?
You see what I'm saying? See where I'm going with this? See where I'm going with this? I'm not saying that jazz and Latin music is not important, because we do our share of that. But why does it have to be only that? That's my philosophy. So. He will argue with me to the death on this topic, but that's fine. I still like it. He's still trying.